Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today I've got something pretty exciting for you. I'm going to be revealing 3 new cards for the upcoming Brothers in Arms expansion. So, as you can see on screen, in case you haven't heard, there is a new expansion coming in Cards. It arrives June 27th. You can pre-order in the shop, and we've already seen about 30 or so cards revealed so far. They're looking really, really cool, and I have the great opportunity to be revealing 3 new ones for you today, and I'm going to tell you now, I think all 3 of these have a very, very good shot at seeing real competitive play right out of the gate. So, starting off with the first card, we have Rapid Response. So Rapid Response is a 2-cost Polish order. It's a standard with the text, add a Legion's unit to your support line for each enemy unit in the front line. So if your opponent has 1 unit in the front line, Rapid Response will summon 1 Legions. If you have 4 or 5 units in the front line, Legions will summon a full support line. Rapid Response will summon a full support line of Legions. Now this is an incredibly powerful card with a lot of potential because it can summon a lot of Legions, and importantly, this is for 2 credits. Plan West, which is just 3 credits, summon 2 Legion units, is, 3 credits, as I said. So Rapid Response is actually a cheaper way of getting potentially more Legions. Now, of course, there's the downside of if you're playing against some sort of air deck or artillery deck or just a generally low unit count deck, this could be worse than Plan West, because Plan West is a guaranteed 2 units. However, this card, Rapid Response, if your opponent has no cards in the front line, then Rapid Response is going to be giving you no Legions units. However, that 2 credits for up to 4 Legions is a huge payoff, and especially if you play ladder, you know ladder is mostly aggro decks. So I think that this is going to fit its way into really any Legions deck, and I think this is going to fit in as a replacement for 2 Plan Wests. I think you might do 2 Plan Wests, 2 Rapid Responses, maybe 3 Plan Wests, 1 Rapid Response. It depends, I suppose, on what the meta is, but I think Rapid Response can fit directly into Legions of essentially any variety, whether it's Japan Control Legions, US more mid-range style Legions. Rapid Response is going to be a very powerful card, and I also just really love the thematics on this card. That obviously, Rapid Response is in reference to the rapid response of the Polish army during the invasion of Poland. So, really cool thematic card, and I think it's going to see a good amount of play. Now, that brings us to our second card, Support Column. It is a 1-cost German order with the text, give a unit adjacent ground units have +1 attack and operate for 1 less. So this is a very, very interesting card. This is a big brain card. Now, if you want a card that really just shows like the nuances of your play, you want to be playing Support Column. This card is so cool. So let's talk about it. The effect is comparable. The +1 attack to adjacent ground units is comparable to a few other things, most notably the SD, which is the German tank. Blitz tank adjacent units have +1 attack. Now, this is a 1-cost order rather than a 1-cost unit, so you might immediately think, oh, well, it's worse than the SD. Very importantly is the end operate for 1 less. That is incredibly powerful. So, if you have 3 units in the support line, let's say you have 3 tanks in the support line, because I think it's pretty obvious immediately that the first thought with this card is to throw it into some sort of German-Japan Heinz, German-US Heinz deck. Say you have 3 tanks in the support line, and you play Support Column on the middle one. That means the 2 adjacent ones will now operate for 1 less and have +1 attack. So let's say they are a Greyhound or Panzer A, whatever it may be. So that means they now have 2 attack, 0 operation. So you can now attack into any units your opponent has in the front line, and then you can move them to the front line, and you could do all of that for free. And then you spend 1 credit to move up the unit that you have played support column on, and then if those units did not attack to get into the support line, they can then attack for free. And then, of course, you can move those 2 units to the front line for free, then you can play another Blitz tank from hand, move that to up for free, because it's adjacent to this support columned unit, and then you can even do a 4th if you want, and then you can move up the support column unit to the front line and then get 2 more attacks in for free. So you can be saving a lot of credits with this card, and that's on top of the fact that it is actually buffing the attack of these units. And because you can, of course, blitz things, trade things off, move them up for free, you can be getting the bonus on multiple units per turn, in multiple fronts per turn, all for a 1 credit standard card. Now that is really, really cool, and of course, it is very easy to make mistakes. You can play the support column unit, and then you push that unit up first, and then you realize the units you left behind in the support line now have operation cost. Or you can play support column unit, and it's on the outside of your line. So you might have the support column unit and then 2 units on the same side. So it's very easy to make mistakes, but it's very easy to be rewarded for playing this card correctly. And again, similarly to Rapid Response, I think this card has really, really good theming. Support column, obviously, when you are fighting in a war, there is lots of logistics, and logistics are incredibly important, and I really like that this card, Support Column, does a very good job at highlighting what good logistics will do for your army, because, my goodness, this Support Column card in a German US Heinz, I think that is one of the decks to check out on release, since this is a standard. If you don't open it in packs, you can very easily craft it if you have any handy standard wildcards lying around, and you can just throw this immediately into a pretty cheap, essentially pauper even, if you want to build it that way, German US Heinz deck, and you can just get going on the ladder and enjoy the new expansion with Support Column. And that brings us to the 3rd card that I get to reveal here. And I love Rapid Response, and I love Support Column, but oh my goodness, this 3rd card, I think, might just blow the other 2 out of the water, and this card is the IJN Shenano. So, this is a 3-cost Japanese order, elite rarity, and this card is really cool. So, just a little bit of history I want to give on the Shenano beforehand, just a little research I was doing onto this, because I thought this was really cool, is the Shenano was actually originally designed to be a battleship. It was a battleship that was already being constructed, and then following the Battle of Midway, where Japan lost the majority of their aircraft carriers, this was sort of last second redesigned to be an aircraft carrier. So it's this weird... it's a very unique boat in that way. And when it was finally launched, just 10 days after launching, it was sunk by American submarines in 1944, which makes it the largest ever ship to be sunk by submarines. So, just a little bit of history for you there. Very interesting card. Or very interesting ship that this card is designed after, and it's a very interesting card, because the text on this card is distribute damage to enemy cards equal to the number of total cards on the battlefield. So, what this means, it has a somewhat similar wording to long-range recon, which is your HQ gains health equal to the total number of cards on the battlefield. This means units on both players, on the side of both players, in the support line and the front line, as well as the HQs. And when this says deal damage to enemy cards, this means split between enemy units and the enemy HQ. So, if you have 2 units, your opponent has 3 units, this card is 3 credits, deals 7 damage, split between all enemies. And that's pretty good. Now, let's say you're playing some sort of Japanese deck, you're drawing with expansions, you're flooding the board with these tiny little 1/1s, you have 7 units on the board, your opponent starts to guard up, they get 2 guards on the board, and suddenly this is 3 credits, deal 11 damage. And not only is it just 3 credits, deal 11 damage, that is 11 damage that is also then going to be hitting those guard units, or it might be picking off smokescreen units that are really annoying. This card... Or, if your opponent has no units on the board, this card is just straight burn. Think about the card Air Blitz. 3 credits, deal 3 damage to the enemy HQ. if you have 1 unit on the board and your opponent has 0 units on the board, this is the same as an Air Blitz. If you have 4 units on the board, which is not hard as Jagro at all, and your opponent has no units on the board, then suddenly this is 3 credits, deal 6 damage, which is, I mean, that's Bismarck is 10 credits, deal 7 damage. So this card has a ton of potential. Now, if you're worried about playing against this card, if you're worried that, oh no, Jagro is going to be insane, look at this crazy burn card, there is actually counterplay for the opponent. If you play a lot of these high health units of your own, that is going to be increasing the amount of damage the Shenano is going to be doing. However, it is going to stop it from being entirely targeted at your HQ. So it actually creates this very interesting interplay for the opponent where you want to play more units to protect your HQ, but on the other hand, you don't really want to play more units because it's just going to be increasing the total damage on Shenano. So this is a very exciting card. I think that this card is going to fit into every single Japanese deck, because you want this in control to destroy, like, so I've been saying so far everything with playing this in Jagro, where you are exploiting the fact that you have a lot of units to deal a lot of damage to the enemy HQ. However, think about this against Jagro. Jagro has 7 units, probably all of them have 1 health. This is going to be 3 credits, potentially just a board clear, where it's going to be taking out all of the enemy units. Now, it's randomly distributed, so it might not hit all of them, but if your opponent has 5, 6, 7 1 health units, this is going to be destroying, if not all of them, the vast majority of them. So this is going to have potential in all Japanese control decks, all Japanese aggro decks, everything in between. I mean, Japan Air probably loves this card. I think that this card is going to be the replacement to Desperate Measures in a lot of ways, because Desperate Measures is being rotated. However, the IJN Shenano is just so strong, and it's evergreen. I think you can run this in any meta, you can run this in almost any deck, and what's very interesting is, in a lot of ways, unlike Desperate Measures, where Desperate Measures was just 2 credits, deal 2 damage to all enemies, this card actually has a lot of... I think it's fair to say that this card is somewhat more interesting, and there's more counterplay for the opponent who is facing the Shenano, and there is more you can really do to get the most out of the Shenano if you are the Japanese player playing this card. So I am very, very excited about this card. If you can't tell it from my voice, I'm very excited for Rapid Response. I'm very excited for Support Column. And again, you can get all of these cards on June 27th, when the Brother in Arms expansion drops. And yeah, I'm very excited for it myself. I hope you are too. So that'll be the end of the video. If you're new here, very much please consider subscribing to my channel. And thank you very much for watching, everybody. I will catch you in the next one.